are highly specialized to be able to pollinate figs. Figs are really unusual in that the flowers are inside the ovary. So in order for pollination to happen, you have to have this crazy little wasp crawl in there and pollinate those flowers on the inside. And that's how we get to having these delicious looking little figs here. So it's not just bees, and a lot of these relationships are very intimate. They're not all wasps can crawl into the inside of a fig. But pollinator decline is a big issue, and this is something that we know a lot about, how honeybees are declining, and we're starting to notice that a lot of our native bees are declining as well. A big problem with it is that we don't really know the native bees that we have out there. We haven't been looking. So this is a great poster that's put up by the Pollinator Partnership, and you can just tell that there is a wide variety of bees that we have. Each of these is going to be capable of doing some little niche in nature that another bee might not be able to do. Their diseases, pesticides. We don't screen a lot of our pesticides for impact on native bees when we look at screening them. We'll look at what they might do to honeybees, but a native bees might actually respond differently. But the main threats are really habitat loss and habitat fragmentation. Here in the U.S. we have, well, there's 5 species of bumblebee that we know are declining, but we can't find enough of Franklin's bumblebee to actually study it. These 4 have been looked at in more detail. So we have Bombus affinis and Bombus pennsylvanicus are out east, and then out west we have Bombus occidentalis and Bombus terricola. And there's been some thought that maybe there's this is a Notsuma parasite. It's a sort of closely related to a fungus. It's a microsporidian that might actually be a problem, that might be an invasive from Europe that came over when people brought bumblebees from Europe to the U.S. not too long ago. But they're declining in severe numbers, occidentalis particularly. They've declined in abundance just over the last 20 years, up to 96% for occidentalis. I mean, it's an incredible crash of their population. But then the geographic range that they're found in is shrinking as well, from like 20 to about 87%. And we have one of these in Arkansas. This is the American bumblebee. It's Bombus pennsylvanicus. And those of you that have heard me talk about bees before, heard me talk about this one. In the 60s, there was one paper that we had that came out of the university about bumblebees of Arkansas. And it's a very small little paper. It just gave county level records on what species were found where in the state. And they called the American bumblebee the most widespread, most common, most abundant, and most vicious, which I think is kind of cute. But it was the most common bee, the bumblebee that we had here in the U.S. according to this paper at the time. And this map is Arkansas, and these are all county records in green in that 1960s paper. And the polka dots are ones that we've found either through my lab or searching through the literature since 2000. And there are actually fewer counties that we've found so far. It's not robust enough to be something that we can say that this is happening, but Pennsylvanicus is harder to find, and I don't find it in all of the areas that I would expect to. We have 8 species of bumblebees in Arkansas, but really I like to think that we only have 7, because this little guy down here, we've only seen a handful